Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Tavern and the Oasis. It's Friday, April 16th, 2021. It has been almost officially a year since I started this project. A lot's been going through my mind lately about where it's at, what's happening, what I'm doing. And, last year at this time, it was, well, a few weeks before this time, because we are now over a year into this Rona insanity, and it has started as to be a 2-year project, maybe 3 years, lots of slow things, but there was a certain emphasis on getting it done quickly last year, and a lot of that was accomplished. I got all the beds in, got everything in, learned to plant, made a lot of mistakes, got the greenhouse you can see behind me all set up and functioning, producing lots of plants, lots of things getting ready to go into the ground soon, lots of things growing in the ground. But all I can say is, if you haven't started your garden, you need to. You need to get ahead. The first year is a pretty serious learning curve. Second year is still a bit of a learning curve. It usually takes 2 or 3 years before you know everything about your particular growing spot, because where you might be is completely different than somebody who's 2 or 3 blocks from you. It's April 16th. We're finally getting some decently warm days. Currently, according to the thermometer, it's 0 degrees out here, but it doesn't feel like 0. Although you might be able to see a little bit of misting from my breath here. It is definitely cool. High yesterday was 26. The greenhouse, I decided to pull the heat from it last night just to see what it did. It fell to a low of 5 degrees, which is acceptable. The soil temperatures, I checked them before I decided to fill this. The soil temperatures in the greenhouse, though, are holding at 16, 17 degrees. So the soil temperatures are now holding inside the greenhouse, which is really important for sprouting the seeds and everything else. This next week, we're expected to have highs between 10 and 26 and lows between 4 and 5. Now, of course, my particular spot, the low right now, according to official weather reports, is only 4 or 5 degrees. But where this yard is, it's 0. Which tells you a whole lot about growing zones, And this is kind of an important thing to know, is to know what your particular microclimate is. And every yard, every neighborhood has its own little microclimate. Depends on the trees around it, if you're close to a mountain, on the edge of a mountain, if you've got a mountain shadowing you. Like, I was trying to film going west here this morning, and I couldn't because the sun is just starting to peek up over the top of the mountain over there. Basically, the mountain is casting a big-ass shadow across the valley. And I noticed that last year, but I've noticed a lot this past year. Like, I know almost precisely where the sun comes up and goes down, having been here week after week, and they're making very concerted observations about what's going on and what the temperatures are. Unfortunately, I didn't record, but this year I've started recording. I started a journal to record my observations on temperatures, what days I plant what seeds, so that going forward in the next year, I'll know, like, oh, when did I plant these seeds? Oh, I planted them on this date, they came up. And those are the observations I'm starting to make in my journal. I planted them on this date, they sprouted up on this date. This helps me to be able to plan better to the future and to make sure I can extend the growing season as far as I can. Now, I don't have a whole lot of touring to go on in the Oasis here today. It's a bit of a mess still. Today is massive cleanup and organization day. I do have, we'll put a shot of it here, big pile of mulch. You'll see that when I start moving the mulch. That's going to be done this weekend too, along with finishing out my fire pit and mulching out areas here that have been grass for a very long time. So I will remember to video it all. I've got lots of batteries, lots of chips for this camera. The camera is very, very nice. I'm just saddened that I broke my microphone input on it, and I haven't had the time to sacrifice the camera for the 2 or 3 weeks it would take for them to fix it. I don't have another better camera. I gave away my original camera I started this with, which was a little teeny tiny cheap ass handheld camera. But the mic picks up pretty good on this. It's nice, quiet days. Birds are noisy this morning. See if I can capture some more birds here today. So, I've been encountering all kinds of interesting things in the last few weeks that, are making me understand that, last year was a massive push, and it's still a push. There's still this urge to get things done and be prepared. And I don't know if any of you have heard or listened to the show I do with my daughter every week, Tuesday evenings, 8 o'clock Pacific time. We do it live here on YouTube. Thinking of which, don't forget to subscribe to the channels and other things. It is a value for value, so if you're getting any value from this, give some value back. But anyway, squirrel. Yes, I suffer from ADHD and, the usual stuff, Lixdexia. At any rate, see, and then the squirrel bounces out, and then that thought that was there is gone. So the urge to get things done, and getting that urge is still here. And it's because we have some shortages of things. It's like if you watch my latest show with my daughter, episode 16 of Tavern Talk, I showed some pictures from one of my most used grocery stores I go to, and they have a serious shortage of stuff on their shelves. Now, I've noticed it off and on throughout this year, and this is a store I've been going to for 15 years, and they've never ever had shortages on their shelves. They've never had bare shelves. Starting about this time last year, they started having bare spots in their shelves, and the bare spots would rotate across the store, and sometimes they would stay bare for weeks. And now I'm noticing more bare spots, larger bare spots in their store. I showcased some of the photos I took when I was inside the store as to what's missing, and odd things are missing. Candy, for one, was really missing. The candy one kind of surprised me. It's like, well, why is the candy all gone? But it is what it is. If you're not preparing to grow your own food, or at least most of your own food, you're going to be behind the curve. So you need to get out there and get started. Even if you don't have a full yard, half a yard, a balcony, supplement yourself. Most people have realized that the price of groceries has gone up dramatically. I mean, I've managed to get myself situated to where I only have to go grocery shopping about once every 2 weeks now for things. And in that period, if you go every 2 weeks, you notice the price jumps. If you're going weekly or every couple of days, like most people, like I used to shop once every couple of days because it was just convenient. Go to the store, pick up what you need for dinner, don't stock up. But, as I started to prepare, and I started my preparedness a couple, 3 years before this. I did get caught flat-footed last year when I had hit a tough time in my finances, and I'd gone through my preparedness items, and suddenly this hit us, and I was not as stocked as I should have been. I am now stocked as I should be now. But, you see these price increases, and these price increases are only going to continue. It's happening for our canned goods. It's happening for fresh produce. It's happening for, flour, sugar, salt. Well, salt is easy to get if you know how. If you live on an island like we do, salt is within easy reach. It's not too far to the ocean. Even here, it's not too far to the ocean. And you can get salt in a matter of a short period of time. You just got to dehydrate water, basically. Yeah, I love that. Hey, I got a can of dehydrated water here for you. How would you like to buy it? Instant water. Just instant water. Just add water. I love that one. At any rate, you got to be prepared. And if you're not prepared, it's time to get prepared. And time to start preparing yourself for what is coming. We are coming up on shortages that may last for a few months, a few weeks. My bet is it's going to be years. it's going to be years before we get back to any semblance of what we used to call normal. I mean, what was normal before this pandemic is gone. It's never coming back. I had high hopes in the first few months that, intelligences would prevail, but as time's moved on, I've seen that intelligence is not prevailing. There's a few places where intelligence seems to be prevailing. Pick them out, like Texas, Florida, South Dakota. I can't think of any other countries across. There's a few countries, I can't think of their names. A few countries over in Europe where intelligence is prevailing, but throughout the rest of the world, it seems to be lacking. I mean, here where I live, intelligence seems to be just not prevailing. I mean, I meet intelligent people. I talk to intelligent people. I had a really great conversation with a lady this last week that I wasn't certain was like that. And then we started talking. The next thing we know, we ended up talking for half an hour, 45 minutes about this exact subject, preparedness, what you need to do. I am preparing up some not documents, but some, I guess you can call them documents, some text, some articles, some posts for the site. Because, she was asking things such as, what sort of things would you need? What are your top 10 things? What could you use if things go completely sideways on us, which is a high possibility right now? What would you need to trade? What's easy, light, and movable that you could take with you for trading? I'd say rocks, but there's way too many of those. That's really all I got. Somehow I managed to actually get moving on just a stream of consciousness this morning. Could be, the sleep. I've had some pretty decent sleeps lately, although they've been full of dreams. I'll put that down to, let's see here. You can't really see it, but let's pull it all out. Put that down back to my sixth sense, growing back out. This is my sixth sense. For those that don't know, I am part First Nations, or Indian as a better term. I am part First Nations. I do have a membership card in a Cherokee Nation in Tennessee, so I can say those things. But this is the sixth sense that connects you back to your world. And I've grown mine back out. It's been kind of interesting to look at my videos and watch it grow back out. It's not back to its full length yet, but about 6 more months it'll be back to its full length. And I'm noticing changes. I'm noticing the ability to pick things up again that I had missed for a very long time. Let's see what we got. You know what? I think it's time I get myself moving. It's a little chilly, so I get myself moving, start cleaning up and organizing, and we'll be off. Anyway, don't forget, folks, once again, Value for Value show. If you're getting any value out of it, hey, give some value back. Time, treasure, talent. Check out the bioorganicdirect.ca directory. That is a really cool thing that I've set up, and it's only got one listing that, as of this video, it only has one listing, but it will have more listings soon as I get more people participating. Go there. If you know of any of local fruit stands, or not fruit stands, farmer stands, seed stands, library stands, plant stands, all those little stands that, people put in their front yards and other things, or, sell eggs from the roadside, all of those things, list them up. List them up and help me create this directory. This would be a really cool thing. Go to theroguestavern.com and find out more. Okay, that's all I've got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.